I think the biggest lesson I've learned in life, probably the biggest lesson, because this affects everything. Relationships, people, situations, experiences, every single thing in your life this is affected by. And I've had to forgive myself for this because I myself ignored the very red flags that were hurting me. And part of it, the biggest part, was denial. I didn't want to believe people like that would actually do things or even not care when I think they care. Some of the people that are close to me. But it's not just that. It's also forgiving myself for not just being in denial and having to heal and get through this, but also I've had to heal and forgive myself for intentionally ignoring these red flags. Because ignoring red flags in your life is not somebody else hurting you. It's you hurting yourself. And no matter what this person does, you ignore the red flags, which is literally hurting yourself. Not them hurting you, you hurting yourself. Because you're allowing it to continue to happen. You're allowing yourself to ignore those red flags, and you're allowing yourself to continue to stay in that reality that is literally hurting you and everybody around you. What's it doing for the people around you? How about your little ones? That is one thing I had people go throughout my life. I had to meet people. I had to learn people. But the one thing I made sure of, regardless, my number one, that is my children. And I made sure they were safe. So no matter what situation happened and how I had to strategize and make sure it was going to be the best decision, I made sure my children were safe. So, a long time I ignored the red flags, but then I realized I'm hurting myself. Life is short, and I'm allowing this to hurt my children. I always thought about, in relationships, being that loyal, being that committed person because you're married, and no matter what happens throughout the relationship, working on it, trying to be loyal, try to make it work. And I realized that is part of those red flags that I was ignoring. Thinking, because society said stay in a marriage, society says to death do us part, society says, but if that's not the person that's meant to be in your life, you are locking yourself, creating this soul tie with this person that's not meant for you. So you are not just being with this person and enabling, allowing it to happen and ignoring. Again, like in my case, it was denial. I didn't want to believe it. But then when you start realizing it, you think about your children. You think about the people that are affected. And it's not just about me. It was about my children. And no matter who I went through, if it was not safe, it was not working out for my children. Family, guys I dated, people I was married to, does not matter. I always made sure my children was first. And they were safe. On my hand, I ignored myself. And I did not help myself. I ignored those red flags. And you know what? I hurt myself. So, I can point the finger, I can blame them, I can say they're a lesson, but who is the biggest lesson? Myself, because I allowed it and continued. And I'll be honest, some of it I didn't understand as far as mental health. But when I started getting resources and I started actually learning what was really going on, everything that I experienced, that I felt, was confirmed once I started learning mental health. And I was like, okay, you know what? I love myself, I protect myself, my children, and I will not ignore those red flags. And it's been some years